Puck gets nothing effect. Has that one taken away by Troy Hillman. It seems like this could be.
Hello and welcome to the Overwatch League recap, a talk show focused on the Overwatch League. I am BlazzinBob, and as usual, I'm joined by Mel. How you doing today, Mel?
Hello, I'm here. Doing good.
Doing good. And we have first time on the show, Kel from the Overtakes podcast. Welcome, Kel. I think we've podcasted before on one of those mid-season podcast panels.
Yeah,
I'm not positive.
Yeah, we've been on a couple of panels together, and then you've been on our show.
Yes,
least
I have.
once.
I totally
Yeah.
forgot about that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was a good time. It was a
Yeah.
good time.
That was real fun.
Oh man. Yeah, I've been on a lot of shows. It's kind of hard to keep it straight sometimes, but
Fair.
yeah. And then
You're
when
just
we
so
have people
popular,
on,
man.
oh, I knew that was coming. I shouldn't have said that. Oh
You really
well.
set yourself up for that one.
Yeah, but I think it's just because I'm an outgoing person and I like talking to people. I like supporting other people's content, so I think that's why I get asked. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems about right.
So
I mean, that's you were in our chat last night on our stream, so we appreciate that, all that support.
Yeah, and I had a good
Gotta
time.
support each other.
Yeah, definitely. And so, for anybody who hasn't heard of you, tell them a little bit about what you do in the Overwatch scene.
Me and Misfit, Misfit 99 is his tag, I believe. So we started working together, and we always talked sports and all this, and then we got into Overwatch, and we were like, hey, let's try something like this and talk about Overwatch the way we talk about football. And basically it kind of just expanded into that, and we're like, let's record this, and it's just kind of where we went from there. And we've been doing it pretty much since the inception of the league, and we love it. We have a really good time, and we try to put kind of a sportsy spin on it and talk about it in the same vein that you would see like a sports talk radio, or I don't even want to say, like, because we originally wanted to be like a first take type of place, but then I was just like, that's not really our style. We actually end up having way too similar of opinions most of the time for us to even do that. But I equate it more to sports talk radio, but for Overwatch League, and we still end up talking about sports because we just can't help ourselves.
Yeah, we actually started this show off. We had a guy that was on site there in LA, Aid Morrow, and he's the one that actually started the show. And we were gonna do game recaps right afterwards and all that. It just turned out to be like, we're podcasters. We're not really.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy that sports talk type of style. You and High Noon do that really well, and I enjoy that. Especially enjoy people that are into this that are into sports too, because a lot of people that are into it aren't really into sports, and I enjoy a lot of those shows. But I mean, you talk about Tactical Crouch, great show, but definitely not run by guys that really know about sports. I mean, John does, but John tries real hard to keep that completely out of it. Which I would love it if he'd added in more, but I still love the show. But it's just, it's just something that I personally like a lot. But we should probably jump into our show.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking some news, talking about week 13, talking hero pools, and a little preview for next week. So start every show off thanking our recap producer, Shazir. Thank you, sir. Let's get into it. So first off, in the news. So let's just get the big one out of the way. Sinatra retires. I mean, you could have seen this coming a mile away. Like, he doesn't get to play every week. He definitely likes to be in the spotlight, and I don't know. He didn't seem very into Overwatch recently. But what do you guys think of this, Kel?
I mean, like you said, I can't be surprised by this move. Pretty much since the launch of the beta for that game, he has been playing it and streaming it pretty much nonstop. So I feel like as soon as we saw that, the writing was on the wall. It's like, all right, you're playing this game all this time, like you're still getting paid to play Overwatch, and you're not playing it. Like that's just not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be doing that for very long.
Although,
And obviously,
although at the same time, though, I do agree that the Overwatch League players should get to play whatever they want
oh,
on their
absolutely,
off time. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because
It's just the amount of time he was playing it. You could tell that he was much more involved in that. But yeah, like absolutely, I can't be mad that a guy wants to play a different game. Like I'm gonna probably try playing it at some point. I got a beta key. I still haven't downloaded it, but
yeah,
that's beside the point.
I need to, but I don't know. It's a lot of shooty for me.
Yeah, it's too much. I honestly want to wait until it launches so I can get a group of people together because I just don't even want to try to deal with solo queuing in that.
Well, and see,
Mm.
my group's playing now, and I've I don't know. I probably will end up getting it. I'm wrapping up all of hard mode on Final Fantasy VII, so I'm gonna have a
Mm.
lot of extra free time probably. But Mel, what do you think of this retirement?
Like I said, the San Francisco Shock was inevitably going to implode with all of their good DPS players, and it's finally happening 3 years later. Uh, no, I mean, I think Sinatra. I think people are way overstating the impact that this has on the Overwatch League as a whole. I think it's ridiculous to think that one player, even though he was the MVP last year, leaving is going to destroy the league. I think
Yeah.
that's absurd.
Yeah.
And again, he wasn't playing much in season 3. We saw him a couple times, but he went to play another game. Who cares? Like, but I do think, and I think we talked about this the other week, that esports is different than traditional sports, right? Like, you're typically not going to switch from basketball to football, and there's usually not a new sport that comes out. Whereas esports,
Right.
there is, right? It's not like
Yeah.
there's a new version of basketball out that's a new hot thing. Like that doesn't happen. So I think that's a major difference with esports and traditional sports that is going to impact players, and players are going to go play different games occasionally, and it just is what it is. Like,
Yeah, I want to be mad at him, but at the same time I have to understand that that's just the nature of the beast with esports. And this being the first esport that I'm really gotten into big time, I'm just not used to it. So it's something that I kind of have to swallow. But I don't like the breaking of contracts at all. Like I just don't like that. But I guess it's something that I do just need to like kind of look at from the outside and understand.
but what is their contract? Like, what does their contract state? Does it state that they commit to an X amount of time to play? Like, what is the penalty for
Well,
them? Do we have any idea?
it obviously doesn't state that they have to play the amount of time because other players have left. I think it states that they have to play for that organization if they're going to play in the Overwatch League at all. I think that's the stipulation. But do you know more about that, Kel?
I think the only thing that I saw as far as Sinatra goes specifically is that he had to stay with I believe it's NRG is the kind of overhead team
Yeah, the parent
for
company.
yeah, the parent company of the Shock. I think he had to play if he was going to play for them. He had to play Overwatch, and that's why he had to retire from Overwatch, and he went to a different team because he had to basically like he wouldn't have been able to play for NRG's Valorant team, and that's
Interesting.
really the only thing that I saw for sure. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it sucks seeing somebody like that leave, but at the same time, yeah, it's inevitable, and that's just I think that's going to be a part of esports, and I'm not really into too many other esports, so I can't say for sure, but I would be shocked if this has never happened in any other one. I guarantee it's happened. We know it's happened in CS:GO. We know it's happened in League of Legends. It's just part of the thing because, like you said, in no other sport is there like, hey, there's a new sport, I'm gonna go play that.
Yeah.
Right.
You definitely do have, baseball teams that will often uh,
That's probably
draft NFL players going into the NFL just in case they decide
Mhm.
to go over to the MLB, because sometimes that does happen, but it's definitely rare.
And then you get those occasional freaks who can, I mean, well, one freak who could do both in Bo Jackson, but
Right.
that's like
And
that's
did-
a
That's
once
just
in a
weird.
lifetime person that can do that type of thing.
you've got the other failures like Michael Jordan going to play baseball.
Exactly. And that, I mean, that's sort of a similar situation. That's probably the closest that we've ever gotten to this type of thing.
Right.
Because I mean, Jordan was at the peak of his career, and he's like, "I'm gonna go play baseball." But there's
Why not?
there's some other influences on that. Obviously, the story with his dad, the official story we get, and then possibly the seedy things that were going on around that time as well in his career.
Yeah, it was weird having Bo as a Royal when I was a kid growing up in Kansas City, and then
Oh, I bet.
having him being a Raider during the football season. It was just
Right.
really,
Not okay.
yeah. I was like, why
Very
couldn't he play for
conflicting.
the Chiefs? I don't understand. But yeah, but I don't know. I wish you luck, Sinatra. It doesn't really bother me much. But in
Yeah.
other retires, Kellex retires from Overwatch, which I thought was a little weird. Like, I could see these DPS players going to Valorant, and I didn't hear that he was going to Valorant, but why did he retire? Does anybody know?
Can we just stop calling it retiring and start calling it quitting? Like, what does this mean? You retire? You're freaking 12. You can't retire.
It's weird in that sense. I think you're retiring from your professional career of playing in that, but I feel like you can only call it a retirement if you're like, I'm done playing in an
Esports.
esports
Yeah.
league.
Right.
But it's just like, I feel, yeah, it should be like maybe in Calix's circumstance, I don't know for sure what his plans are. He might just be done with esports, so maybe that is legit. But yeah,
It's
in
possible.
terms of Sinatra, like it's like, no, I quit playing Overwatch to go play a different game.
Yeah.
Like, that's not retiring.
Oh, well, but did he give a reason or anything?
I think the only thing that I saw was that he wanted some more time with his family, and just I think there was just a lot of the stress of being in the league and everything was just kind of getting to him.
Yeah, he was
That's
always
about
super quiet.
the most I've heard about it.
Yeah.
All right, well, good luck, Kellex. I never really heard much out of you. You were kind of quiet, but
Yeah.
wish you luck. Also, Cruz leaves Paris Eternal and goes to the Toronto Defiant. How do we feel about this? I mean, he wasn't going to get played over FD God, but
Mhm.
Well, I think them losing Kellex put them in a position where they needed a
a
main
Lucio.
support, and I think Cruz has shown to be a good player, but he's not getting playtime in Paris, so I think it is a good fit for him. I think he will pair up well with these guys that are there. So I think all in all, it's a win-win for Defiant and for Cruz. Not really a loss for Paris.
Yeah, I think it's a win across the way. Although he does kind of leave Europe and go over to Canada. I know he was real excited about being, a pure European team last season 2 at the start.
I think
Yeah, I
that
mean,
excitement fades when you don't get to play.
yeah, the excitement for that fades with that, and when most of the players on your team are Korean.
Oh yeah,
But I feel like it is overall, it's an upgrade probably for Toronto. I think Cruz
Yeah.
is a pretty solid player. And nothing against Kellex, but I think Cruz is probably a better player than he is. He was just stuck behind a better player than him.
Yep.
And because FD God has been proving that he was worthy of starting and deserves it. So he got the nod, and Cruz kind of got the short end of the stick, but now he gets some playtime, and it's just one of those circumstances where you had too many guys on one position. It's a super common thing in a lot of sports, so I can't be surprised that they made that choice, and I think it's good for Toronto. I think he's going to be a good fit. We were talking about it last night on our show, that he seems like a much more vocal leader, and I think that's the type of guy that Toronto really needs, because they have a lot of real quiet, subdued guys, mainly like Logix and Surefour. I mean, those guys, they're incredible players, but they just don't have that, like, we're
They're not
going for it.
leaders.
Yeah, they're not gonna give you that big inspiring speech, or really be that big call out guys. They're more just sit back and frag.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's good. Also, another ad is I think you say his name, Fielder,
This guy, yeah.
joins Paris, and
It's because he
then
likes baseball. Remember?
oh yeah. And then he gets added to the team, and then 24 hours later plays in their match with 200 ping from Korea.
And kills it.
And kills it. Yeah. Like, what? That was nuts. I mean, the things he was able to do on 200 ping, I feel like he's got to be worse with no ping, right? Like, something was helping him.
Well, and I wonder how the ping works with the favor the shooter mechanic in Overwatch. I don't know how that works, and it could have been a good thing for him, but I'm just not sure how that
I'm not sure how that
interacts.
works.
Because
I find it hard to believe 200 ping is a good thing for anybody, but I get what you're saying.
Especially playing Anna, of all characters to
like
play.
Lucio, you could probably get away with 200 ping.
Yeah, is that like, so ping is like milliseconds, is 60 milliseconds a second?
What?
If that's the math, then that means he's playing from 3 seconds in the past. Or it might be 100 to 1 second. Milliseconds.
It's 1 to 1,000.
1,000. Okay, so he's playing like basically a quarter of a second behind everybody else.
Which in this game is an eternity at that level.
Yeah, especially when he was hitting all
Trying to get
kinds
a
of
sleep
sleep
guard.
darts. Yeah, he was hitting a ton.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was
man.
nutty.
All right, well, that was an interesting story. So another interesting one is the Titans continue to have weird stuff going on. So Janu and the head coach Pagion leave Titans.
Yes.
Yeah.
We all thought it was the beginning of the end. Like, they sent out the one tweet about Janu, and then like 35 minutes later, they sent out the tweet about the head coach, and everybody's just sitting there watching their Twitter like, who's next?
Just just refreshing constantly.
Yeah,
and it's still, and that was actually the last tweet that they've posted, and that was the 30th, so almost 5 days ago now. And we have not heard anything officially yet, but there has been rampant speculation about all this.
Yeah, and Reinforce made sure to point out specifically that the Titans were playing next weekend. He's like, and just waiting for people to be like, oh, but I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen, but who gets to play him? The Outlaws get to play him. I wish Dallas got to play him.
They have 2 games.
Yeah, they've got 2 games. I think they play Houston. I believe they play Houston and Washington.
Well, I wonder who they're gonna field on the team.
They play Mayhem.
Mayhem.
They play Houston the next week.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. So another change to hero pools comes in, and this change I agree with tremendously. Okay, so basically they completely got rid of hero pools from diamond and below. So it's no longer the game. It's just in Masters and Grandmasters. And to be quite frank, I honestly never thought the game really needed it. When it first came out, I was like, "Oh, this I'm happy for this for the Overwatch League, but I don't know how I feel about the game." And it's actually kept me out of playing Overwatch multiple times because I'm like, "Up, I don't want to deal with that. Up, I don't want to deal with that." And so I'm glad they're taking it out of the game. They also made it purely based on on Overwatch League playtime now, which
Thank
is
God.
Yes.
very, very good thing. So yes, it's another change to hero pools that keep happening, but I think this is the bright spot here. Like this is good. What do you guys think?
I feel like you have to appreciate the fact that they are making changes and that they are responding when things aren't working and they're doing it quickly. Like I know it's a lot of changes and it's a lot happening very quickly, but it's better than having this awful hero pool meta for a month because they wanted to stick it out and see if it worked, right? So I think that this is a really good change. I think it's the best thing for everybody. I think Masters and Grandmasters want to play like the Overwatch pros, so they want the same hero pools. But the problem still is there that you don't get to see the hero pool played until the end of the week and then it changes. So the people in Masters and Grandmasters are developing their own meta anyways. Like they're not learning from the pros and taking it in. But I think overall it's a really good change. I think them following owl numbers is by far the best thing that they could do. like, like they said on the broadcast, I think, let the people who get paid to play this game determine what the best comp is and develop hero pools off that, not people who just
Please.
want to play.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, like I went on a massive rant last Sunday about it on our stream, and because I was so frustrated with how it was being handled and just everything that was going on with that. So for them to have these changes as quickly as they have and being so fluid and flexible about it, high just massive props to the dev team and it's just everybody in charge and I'm being so open about it because that was definitely something that we've been lacking for a couple of months too. Pretty
Mhm.
much ever since the announcement of Overwatch 2, I feel like they said they were going to go dark and they were not kidding. And it felt frustrating at times where you're just like, what are you guys doing? Like, you're just not communicating with us. But now we've got basically open communication. And I think it's really putting the game in a much better place. And overall, yeah, I think it's a home run not having it in the lower tiers because no one was really following a set meta anyway. Everyone was just kind of playing what they wanted to. And that's kind of how it's kind of been that way for a long time anyway. But I think it's finally in a place where you never feel like you're just forced to play this one thing, but you also never feel like, oh, well, that's a throw pick.
Right.
Because every character has at least something they can bring to the table. And if
Every
somebody's really good at that, let them play it.
and
Right.
and I
I feel
do
like you're not. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying I do still really enjoy the bands in Overwatch League. I hope they
Oh
keep
yeah,
going with it. I do really, really like those.
Yeah.
I agree. I like the idea of the hero pools. I kind of hope that they do eventually. I know Frito's a big proponent of it, of there being individual bands for each team, and then kind of the loser picks the next band, that type of thing. I do think that would add a lot more fun strategy and just some more things to the broadcast that they could bring in. It'd probably make things a little bit longer, but
Yeah, Frito
if you're only banning one or two heroes, I think that it really wouldn't be that much more.
Frito definitely wants bands, and I honestly think bands is the only way to go if you're gonna really keep it in the game. I
Mhm.
think I think that's a way for devs to get to see what the high level community think of hero balance. It's a really good indicator of what's not balanced. It's how League of Legends does it, and it's just they're gonna have to figure out a way that it works correctly and it works quickly. Just with being able to swap heroes, it's not as easy as bans in other games.
Right. And I think that's something that I really think we will see if it does come. It's going to come in two. I feel like this is just kind of their idea of like, this is what we're going to do for now as just kind of a patchwork thing. We're going to,
As a bridge.
yeah, exactly. As a bridge until we get to that point where we can really truly implement it into the game the way we want it to. And we get to the level of characters where they can actually do that properly as well, because I just don't, there's just not enough heroes yet for a full-on ban thing like that.
Yeah, maybe with Overwatch 2.
Hmm.
I have a feeling Overwatch 2 is going to change things fundamentally, though. Maybe
I do too.
might be going to like a 5v5 system, or I don't even know. We'll just have to wait and see, though.
Just delete 2CP on accident. It's like somebody just accidentally pressed the delete button. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
I get the feeling it's going to be like a whole new mode. Like they're going to take those maps and a lot of the things and some of the similar things, like some of the better things about it, and basically make a whole new mode out of it. I'll be shocked if they just leave it alone.
There is an entirely new mode,
Yeah.
the push pull thing, which was really neat to watch there at BlizzCon. So I'm excited about Overwatch 2 quite a bit. So let's hope that comes sooner rather than later. But
Sure.
so John Spector, the true commissioner, president of the Overwatch League, in my opinion, put out a big long Reddit post going over a few different things, their plans for the 2020 season, and how they basically I don't really know how to unpack this, but
There's a
basically,
lot.
yeah, they're hoping that they can get some sort of actual uh like grand finals location, and they can actually do that, like they've done for the past two years. But he's basically saying that the home stands are definitely not coming back even later in the season. Those are done.
They are. He did say something interesting though, that they're trying to find a place where they can all come together and do an expanded playoff in grand finals, mainly stating like that, the teams haven't gotten to play each other across regions yet, and there's a lot of differences in strength of schedule for all the teams right now based on where they're located and who they can play and all of that. So I think having an expanded playoffs, I think, would be a really good thing. Kind of give more people an opportunity to showcase, one, on a LAN environment, two, against, all of the teams, and then have some sort of grand finals. And who knows where the state of the country will be in August and September. So we'll see if that's even a possibility.
Yeah, I'd still love to see that whole 20 team, bracket tournament, just like March Madness. I would love to see that.
Yeah,
I would not be surprised if we get something like that. Or at least, yeah, some type of thing where every team plays each other at least once just to kind of see and make sure. Because, yeah, you're going to get a lot of those teams that have just not played each other at all this season.
Right.
And I think they're kind of thinking in the same way that some of the major sports are thinking, where they get everybody together. They're obviously there's just zero chance of there being crowds this year.
Yeah.
But if they can at least get everybody together and kind of quarantined, I guess, in their own area, and everybody's got testing and all that, then they can safely have everybody play each other and do a proper playoffs and finals, and we can at least get that. Uh, that's the hope.
That
I'm not
is the
sure if
hope.
that's going to be.
I mean,
I can't imagine it not being feasible at some point, but
right.
depending on how long that takes, it's rough.
Yeah. I mean, we've already seen a lot of the teams with the player cams that they've been adding in, which is a really cool addition. I like it. But we've seen a lot of the teams are together.
Yeah.
It's not, I think they were together before everything happened. So what are you going to do? Like at that point,
Right. It's like if someone's
you're
better than we all
exposed.
have it anyway.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah, quite frankly, I'm jealous because like I would love to be living like I wouldn't love this normally, but right now
Mm.
I'd love to be living in a huge house with a ton of my buddies. Like that would be
Right.
awesome. Getting to watch shows together, movies and playing console games. Like I would love that right now because right now I'm starved for human interaction. I can't even get people to wave at me from across the street.
And
Yeah, they
keep
put
in
their head
mind, while
down.
being
They're like,
paid to do all that.
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Oh,
He also talked about some of the viewership because there's been a lot of controversy about the viewership and the YouTube move and all of that. And I think that was, again, I think the VOD scene is not arguably way better.
So much better. Oh
Like,
my
so
god.
much better. I could find the
there's
VODs
literally
now.
no comparison.
I
Yeah.
can't even imagine trying to watch some of these games that are on at 4, 6
No.
o'clock in the morning.
I wouldn't.
Like, no way. It would
I've-
If
be.
you
I'd just be
didn't
like,
catch it
I
live
have-
on Twitch,
just
you
have
never
to-
would.
I've watched
You know
a
what I mean?
couple of them, but I'm also on mountain time zone. So like they'll start at 2 a.m. and I'm still up because my sleep schedule is all jacked up
Yeah,
now.
that's fair.
But he did talk about how viewership in Asia is higher than it's ever been, which is really good. And I think that that's because the matches are not at 2 in the morning for them. So I thought that was cool. He talked about player retirements. So basically, a lot of the stuff we talked about where players came to Overwatch from other games. And if they choose to go to another game after Overwatch, that's going to happen. It's not the end of the world. And, the COVID-19 crisis, he thinks, has put a little bit more strain and pressure on the players and everything like that.
Definitely.
He talked about tier 2 and the path to pro because there's been a lot of angry people that there's not more support.
It's
We did
dying.
see-
It's literally dying.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did see more promotion of it on the Overwatch League this last week. I don't know if you guys noticed, but they talked about the upcoming matches. They had that Australian guy giving like a recap of contenders.
Yeah. He wasn't Australian. He was Brazilian.
I swear he lived in Australia.
He was talking about the Australian thing, but that was a Brazilian accent. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
He didn't
Yeah,
put
no,
any
I
don't
shrimp
think I
on the
saw that.
bobby. Oh man.
But that is cool. I'm really glad that they're doing that, and I want to see. I love that they're doing more of these like mini tournaments and stuff like that. I think that really brings a lot more just fun things, and yeah, that's something we've been screaming about for pretty much since the inception of the leagues. Like, why is no one ever talking about what's happening in contenders?
Yeah.
Like, it was just a dead zone.
It was really
And-
weird. It was like they wanted to make sure all eyes were on the Overwatch League, and
Mhm.
they didn't realize at the time, I guess, that it's the tier 2 seed is big for new caster talent
Mhm.
when other casters leave, new players, everything.
Yeah,
Well, the tier 2 scene is all we have. And I think I've been on the train of like, who really cares? Tier 2 is trying to get to tier 1, right? That's their goal. So whatever. But I think the difference is in traditional sports, you have college teams, then you have minor league teams, then you have professional teams. And it's not like you hear anybody casting Major League Baseball talking about the minor league baseball teams, right?
Right.
That's not a thing. Same with, the NFL. Nobody's talking about, other teams that are not in the NFL. I don't know.
I mean,
but
in the case of football, like they're talking, everyone knows who's coming in. Like at least the major guys who are coming in from college football. So there's a very healthy pre-NFL. Definitely the case when it comes to Major League Baseball. I mean, even the highly touted prospects, you're not hearing about them unless they are like rising up the ranks and
Right.
they're going to play within a couple of years because most of the time they get drafted when they're like 16 and they don't see major league time until they're like 25.
Right.
Yep.
And whereas with this league, yeah, like you're getting a lot of guys. I mean, one of the guys that played in Fran's Cup today, he was 14. So that's a guy that legally wouldn't even be eligible to play for another
For
4 years.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
kind of a bummer about the Overwatch League, but
Mhm.
at the same time,
I get it.
I get it, and I think it's probably a better thing,
Mm-hmm.
especially for these younger kids' educations. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
But at the same time, you still got to give them a shot in these tournaments and the smaller things and just being able to promote
I'm
those things. Like,
interested and engaged. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
absolutely.
Like, if not, you're going to lose them.
yeah.
Yep.
And you want to give them some incentive to keep playing and do that and build that up.
Yep.
Like today, I think this one was one of the first times that a little like tournament like that has actually been on the launcher. They were promoting it like go to Fran's channel and watch this.
That is cool.
So I thought that was
very
cool.
cool. And speaking of little tournaments, one of them started today, the Lone Star Showdown. This is really cool, especially if you're a fan of either of the Texas teams. Basically, they're doing a 3-week little micro tournament, and today was 1v1s and 3v3s. And they played the 1v1s, and the winners get to pick the first map for a 6v6 that's going to take place. It's going to take place on Monday, the 18th of May. So they're basically playing these little 1v1s and 3v3s to see which team gets to pick the 4 map sets for that 6v6. There's a trophy, bragging rights. They're calling it the Battle for Texas, and they really tried to play up that it was more important than the game that was just played. Of course, Houston, you would try to do that, but it was really
Oh,
fun.
get out of here.
I don't know how much fun.
You guys just played Washington. Like, come on. Was that really a game? As much as I rip on Houston, I mean, come on, you guys just played Washington.
We took San Francisco to 5, though.
You
Sure
did.
did. But
I like your guys. I actually I like both of your guys' teams a lot more this year. I think they both have a lot of potential, especially Dallas. Like those two DPS you have are just unreal and super fun to watch.
yeah, it was a good time. And you
The
got
one
to
I do
watch
want to
them
check out
go
from
go
that.
ahead.
The one I want to check out from that thing today was the Blase versus was it Doha?
Yes.
Where they were playing Doomfist
Doom.
against each other.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Because I will say Blase is
Who do
probably
you
one of the
think
best.
won?
Blase, right?
Yeah.
Because he's one of the best Dooms in the league.
Yeah.
Like,
it was
There were a lot of
super
people that
super
argued
close.
Doha was better than him.
There
and
were, I mean, really, all of the matches were super close, except for the Ryan v. Ryan Muma versus Gamsu, and Muma
I
just
think
got
Muma was
worked.
AFK. Like, I don't even like he just kept getting hit by fire strikes, like not moving.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
like,
I was like, what are you doing?
poor Muma.
Oh man,
I feel like he's like now he was the guy that carried your team for so long, and now he's kind of the guy that's dragging them, similar to like what was happening a couple of years, like the first couple of years where you had guys who you're like, why are you playing? Like I know you were great at one point, but like
they
Yeah,
also
like
had
every game in
somebody else.
season 1 when they swatched Clockwork in for Linkser, and you're just like, why would you do that? Or Boink to play Mercy. I'm like, we lose. Boink plays
or
Mercy,
anytime
we lose.
Cool Map played in season 2.
well, they also
Yeah.
had they had Uber and Jake casting it, which was cool.
Oh really? That's awesome.
If you want to watch the VODs, you can check them out on either Dallas's YouTube or Houston's. And so we watched the VOD because it was on today, like 10 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern.
Okay.
And it's going to be that same time, I believe, next Monday and the Monday after. But the VODs were super easy, so I would definitely recommend. That's why we started the show so late, is because we ended up watching the entire thing. And I don't know if it would be as exciting for people who aren't big fans of these two teams, but
It's
I
also
thought it was
me
great.
and your team up against each other, which I think just makes it even more exciting. But yeah, I will say Repel looked really good on Zen against Crimso. I think Repel had the upper hand there.
I mean, lots of them
I can see
went
that.
like, they did the 1v1s were best of 9, and lots of them were 5-4.
Oh
And
wow.
Yeah.
and it was great. I mean, it was really fun to watch. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But let's talk about some games,
And it
guys.
does, well, real fast though,
Okay,
it
go ahead.
does look like they are actually trying, except for Muma.
Yeah,
But
unlike
like
the
rest of
mid-season things.
yeah, like the rest of them, it really did look like even in the 3v3, they were actually like giving it their all. Like it wasn't just memeing around and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
So
it's
That's
cool.
awesome.
it was definitely better than those mid-season things they've done before, where really they just came off as kind of a joke. Like, this is for a trophy that they're gonna get to put in uh their respective team houses, and so it's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
definitely seems like it's better than what did they do last year when you had like the Oj versus who did he play in like that random 1v1, and they like widow battles or something. Like it was just like it was silly but and fun, but it was just like there's why. So
Yeah.
where at least
What?
this has like some kind of stakes to it.
Yep.
Right.
Like yeah, that seems I'm interested to see if they keep kind of building on this thing, if it gets enough that maybe they do that with some other teams. Like I could definitely see that with like both LA teams,
Yep.
probably I don't know, like London, New York, or something like that. I think they could have a lot
Right.
of fun with stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool. So, but let's go ahead and talk some games, guys.
Yeah.
So we actually had some pretty good ones this week. We had 2, almost 3 reverse sweeps. What do you guys want to get into first?
Just the fact that it wasn't as boring as a bunch of 3-0s.
Yeah, we've been having some, like last week was a big 3-0 problem.
Yeah, it was.
But let's just go ahead and jump into the Chinese teams really quick. So Seoul gets destroyed by Guangzhou Charge. And I mean,
It was so
not
frustrating.
not
And the
close
spark.
3-0. Fastest
No.
game ever. The
Yeah,
the record was broken
Washington
1 week.
man.
Second week in a row.
What's going on with Soul? You think Soul just couldn't figure out how to play Echo?
I don't know.
Oh, I think their problems are deeper than that.
Yeah,
I really do.
I mean, Gamsu fed the entire time. I mean, it just
Gamsu?
not Gamsu, Gesture.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, Gesture fed. He
And
fed his brains out.
Profit, I
And
don't know why they're not having Profit on the Echo. There's just so many questions.
yeah. I think
weird.
it's got to come down to coaching or leadership or something in the Soul organization. Just like takes all the talent on their team and roster and just sucks it out of them.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what the hell is going on because
And they get 3-0'd by the Spark too. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they're cursed. They're
they're
the
on a
only
9-map losing streak right now.
and they're the only like true Korean team by location. And many
Mhm.
say Koreans are better, but they've just never been good in the league. Like, they've had little small sparks, but it's just,
Flashes of brilliance at times and then just
yeah.
like utter disappointment at others. I mean, the best they looked is probably towards the end of last season, when they were putting out their B team and they somehow like made a run to get into the playoffs. And
Yeah.
that was like the best that they've had this entire time. And that was with guys who, if you'd have told me that would have been their starting lineup in a playoff game, I'd have laughed in your face when it's just like, oh, they
Super
have
weird.
Rouge Hong and and Fissure and all these other players and Fleta, and like none of them are getting playtime.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, and it baffles me. I have no idea what's going on there, but oh well. And then
I
go ahead.
I mean, could it be that maybe the Charge and Spark just had a really good hold on Echo?
I don't know, to be honest.
I
Uh,
think I think partially. I think like I would say that Nero seems like he's really. I had a feeling that he was going to be a really good Echo, but I mean, after their complete and utter collapse against Shanghai, and then just getting absolutely rolled this weekend, I don't even know if you can say that it's anything besides Seoul just being garbage right now. Like, there's no
Yeah.
other word for it.
seems
They're
like
just
a
straight trash.
seems like a lot of teams that are putting their best Pharah players in the Echo spot is what it seems like to me.
Yeah, I think they're projectile players, they're whoever plays that role typically, I think, is the Echo. But Seoul looked good, I don't know, in week like 8 or something when they beat both the LA teams.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
they
then
did.
they went back to Korea, and did they win their first match back in Korea?
Yes.
Yeah. No, they couldn't have if they're on a 9-game losing streak. Maybe they did.
Well, they won their first game because it was against, I
Oh yeah,
believe, because it was the game before Shanghai. Yeah, they rolled the Spark,
the Spark, yeah, Rio.
and then they got absolutely demolished by Shanghai.
Yeah.
I don't yeah, I don't even know what to say. But New York came out against Shanghai looking real good. Went up 2-0. Sabiobi doing tracer things, and then Shanghai just said no and reverse swept the taking the match 3-2.
I mean,
I
it
was
feels
glad
like
to see New York actually put up a fight though, I think is my thing.
Mhm.
I didn't want Shanghai to just roll over New York too and us to just get this one dominant team and everybody else is just trying to figure it out. I think it's good that New York put up a 5-match series, and Shanghai, I think, just is more settled than where they are. Their team has been playing together a lot of games against these teams. They don't have to prepare for the other teams as much because they kind of know how they play. So I think it
I,
was a
I
good game.
I think overall, like Shanghai just seem like one of the most prepared teams in the league. Like, I don't know what changes they made to their coaching staff or any of that, but whatever they did is just it's paying dividends because they just look, even when they get rattled and kind of when they get knocked down, they just get right back up, because there was points where it looked like New York was about to roll, and just
Right.
they just slowly chipped away and got better and better, and just by the end you were like, New York has no shot. By the last half of map 4, I was like, New York is just gonna, like, they're getting crushed now.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
and
and
it's a cheat code with the DPS that they have, though. When you've got, I mean, and I had a feeling this is what they were gonna do, is we hadn't seen Ding for 3 or 4 weeks, and I was just like, I feel like he's gonna be just grinding Echo this whole time because they're playing so much Farah and all these other things, and we know he's a really good one.
Right.
But
mhm,
so is Fleta, so I mean, they got to find some balance. So okay, Fleta's getting that play time, but I mean, now you can be like, okay, we're just gonna have this guy grind this, and that it paid off leaps and bounds. Because my
yeah.
God, and then I think New York really struggled because Who Are You just did not have command over Echo nearly as much as Ding did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shanghai is a true rags to riches story. I mean, literally posting the worst season record in sports history, in season 1 to, being a true contender in season 2, and now just looking like possibly the best team in the Overwatch League. We're gonna have to see them play some of the guys over here, but they look really good.
I think
Across
Philly
a
is really the,
variety of hero pools, though, too.
yes.
You know what I mean? They've never looked weak with any hero pool that's been thrown out, which I think is crazy.
Interesting, yeah.
That's why I think it really comes down to coaching. It's coaching, and it's the mixture of coaching and talent that they have and flexibility that all their players have. But I think they've just found a way to just put everybody in the best position that they can to flourish.
Yep.
hmm
Well, and
I can't wait to see them play Philly. Like that's the matchup now.
Yeah.
I want to see Shanghai Philly. Please make it happen in some way.
then poor Chengdu gets beat 3-1 by New York.
Hey, they took a map.
Yeah, they took a map. You know who didn't take a map? Washington against the boys in blue, your Dallas Fuel.
When was the last time Washington took a map from anyone?
I don't know, but
That's actually a really good question.
it was awesome watching Doa on the Echo, and something to be said about. I was not excited about Echo at all, but boy, I had a blast watching it. I was totally wrong in
Super
my
fun.
opinion. Like my opinion changed almost immediately just watching these just the choices of who they were gonna duplicate and watching DPS players play monkey.
Yes.
Oh man, I was
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
wow, I think I could beat you on monkey. That's cool. Oh man, but it was super cool to see what everybody changed to, but Washington's dying.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Washington should be better.
Yeah, I don't
They
get
should
it
be.
either.
Like, I just don't understand what are they doing wrong?
I I wish I do. I wish someone could tell me. I don't know, we could reach out to our buddies over in Washington and be like, "What's going on?"
So I just looked at it, and Washington has not won a map since they played the Defiant on April 4th. So they've got to be on like a 15 map losing streak or something like that.
Jesus.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's
haven't,
pretty rough.
and I know how that feels. I mean, Dallas before they won they've won 4 out of the last 5 matches that they've played, and almost I mean they could have beaten San Francisco, but before that they hadn't won a they hadn't won a match I think since stage 1 of season 2. I mean, it was bad.
Oof.
And Dallas was on a horrible losing streak.
Yeah.
Oh well. So, you
Yeah.
know who else is on a losing streak is the Rain. The Rain get reverse swept by the LA Valiant. And I mean, this came out and it looked like the Rain was just dominating and it was going to be over. Like what happened?
I think everybody's undervaluing the Valiant immensely. Uh, they've got a lot more talent on their roster than I think anybody, especially at the beginning of the season, was giving them credit for. But even up to this point, I think they're still vastly underrated. They've got a phenomenal DPS line with KSF, KSP, and Shax. Shax really showed us that he is a fantastic tracer in this game, especially.
And I think their coach, Packing 10, really
Mhm.
gets a lot of respect from the players that are there. I think
Definitely.
it's crazy that the Valiant are this good because we did not expect them to actually be very good this year. And we're starting to see that they really are. They really
Custa
are
expected it.
pretty good. Yeah, Custa.
Yeah.
But
But
I
I
think
mean,
they've
how could anybody listen to Custa? It's just
I
like
know, right?
it's just like, well, your bias is showing.
Yes.
Come on, man.
100%. He embraces it, though. It's fine.
He totally embraces it, which I don't mind at all.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of, like, with Gig and Dreamer. I think them swapping around, I think, is causing some disruptions in their team chemistry. I'm not sure if that's the best move for them. I think your main tank is a little bit difficult to, right? Aren't Gig and Dreamer their main tanks?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. Yeah. And then I mean, really, the only consistency on their tank line they're getting is McGravy is playing
Mhm.
pretty much all the time.
Yeah. So I don't know. That could be some of Valiant, but I think Atlanta. I mean, it's not like they were, like demolished in by Valiant in those maps. The last one, Busan, was a 2-0, so that was kind of
Yeah,
not great.
I mean, it was
Oh,
definitely,
they had fallen apart by that point for sure.
Yeah.
it was going downhill. Hawk didn't play, which is weird. Like, I played him in like two different fantasy things, and I was like, "Whoa, no!" It's like, come
They put
on.
D and Pokpo. Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going on with
Yeah,
that. I think
they
they're
played him fried. Like, what the heck?
they're switching out their DPS, but they're not switching out their DPS like I can see switching out your DPS for specific heroes that you
Hmm.
want to play, but I feel like they're just kind of switching out their DPS to switch out their DPS.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
sorry.
Play the
let's
same
even
hero.
play the same hero.
Yeah.
And I'm
I
like, why?
I have been saying it, and no one will believe me. Baby Bay is the best DPS on this team. Erster, yes, he's great. Edison, yes, he's great. I'm sorry, Baby Bay is not he's not the player that he was in San Francisco season 1. He is the best DPS on that team, and I feel like his leadership is huge too, on and off the field when you're with this guy and with the team. Like, I've noticed it personally. He's
Mhm.
a leader, and you need him on the field. And I don't see why Ash was getting played. Let him play Ash.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think there's some definite internal things with the rain that could be polished. I think they've got a great team and they've got good talent, but some of the decision making I think is off.
Yeah, I would agree that definitely decision making is part of their issue. I think they're really good right now at one specific meta, that double shield. When they get to play that, that is definitely their comfort zone. When they get to play Gator and Hawk playing the two shields, whether it's Rhine, Orisa, Sigma, one combination or a combination of whatever of those two, I think is when they're at their most comfortable, and the rest of it doesn't really matter who's playing, because those guys just create so much space
Mhm.
that everyone has room to operate, and they are at their best. But as soon as they have to switch off of that, that's when they just fall apart and they look mediocre to bad.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. Well, so San Francisco takes on the Outlaws, and after the Outlaws took Dallas to 5 and Dallas took San Francisco to 5, I thought this was going to be a game, but San Francisco destroyed the Outlaws. Like, it wasn't a close 3-0. Actually, I shouldn't even say San Francisco. I should just say Rascal. Rascal
Yeah.
destroyed the Outlaws. I mean, he definitely is the best Echo right now. And I mean, he looked like he'd been playing the character for years.
It
I
was
mean,
literally times where I felt like we couldn't even move. Like, I was
Dude.
just like, "What's happening? Like, is there anybody else on this team? Like, what are you doing?"
Oh man, it was such
is
a good
anybody
performance.
surprised that Rascal picked up a character this quickly and is playing it at this high of a level? Like, I just feel like it's what that guy does. Like, he
Well,
just
I
comes up.
okay.
know.
It's like a new hero's out. Oh,
So
Rascal's already the best.
I guess like Echo is just much easier to see how well someone's doing than uh than uh than Baptiste last
Mhm.
year. You know, like
Or
he
Brig was,
yeah, he
like
was doing really good with that hero, but it's kind of hard to like see it, as in your face as when he's getting triple kill after triple kill after triple
Right.
kill, you know?
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
also
the thing
think
with
if you
the
don't
hero.
have Jexay on the team, then you lose. It's just, I mean, you need
Yeah,
Jexay to keep the
why
Yeah,
wasn't he
attitudes up.
playing?
they were playing
Because
Repel and Raucous.
they were playing comps with like Baptiste and Zen or Baptiste and Anna, and so those aren't really Jexay's forte. He's more of a Lucio Brig, but I just feel like Jexay's attitude and his what he brings to this team is very different. And I mean, maybe Jexay could have taken out Rascal because when all else fails, Jexay kills him.
He is. I feel like Jexay is probably one of the best. He's probably your carry. If he's not there, I don't think that you guys are nearly as good of a team. Same way we were talking about Baby Bay and the impact he makes for Atlanta. I feel like Jexay is that way for Houston. If he's not in there, they just are not anywhere near as good as they can be with him out there. And
Yeah.
I felt the same way the last couple of seasons when Jake was playing for you guys. When he wasn't out there, they weren't as good. And Jexay is the
Even
same
if
way.
Jake wasn't the best DPS to be playing, he brought more to the team than the other DPS that we had. You know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
yes, our other DPS were mechanically maybe more skilled at this hero than Jake is, but Jake not being out there, our team just like depleted. Like
Yeah.
you'd look at them in the middle of matches and they just like would be silent, not talking at all. You'd put Jake in and like middle of match and Jake's like like won't shut up. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
And that's unfortunately stuff we don't get to see
Mhm.
now that they're not on stage. I mean, we know Jexay is a big moral support for the team and kind of cheerleader because he was the one that always jump up first after they won and be like, "Come on, guys, we won, and he had all that energy.
unfortunately, we didn't get to see that very often. But yeah,
But
you know,
yeah, we just
the
don't.
rare times.
We just don't get to see that with the home matches. But we did get to see a couple team cams, which was really cool.
Mhm.
Fortunately, some of their little areas were super messy. I was like, "Whoa, guys, come on! Like, let's like
Are
have
you really
a
surprised?
let's have a
My
chore
favorite
list."
is-
Like,
My favorite is the like player interviews where they're doing it from their like bedroom and there's just like crap everywhere. And I'm like, really? You couldn't clean up if you're going on like camera? Like, come
You're going
on.
on national, or not national TV, but you're going on like a worldwide broadcast.
yeah.
I mean,
It's
while I
only
have
been
laundry in the
forever.
background, but ignore
Yeah. Come on.
that.
Oh man! All right.
They need a
Well,
mom.
so Philadelphia almost got reverse swept by the Paris Eternal. Philly ended up taking it 3-2, but it was 2-0, 2-0 Philadelphia, and Paris looked so bad that they didn't even take the first point on Volskaya. Is it Volskaya? I believe it's Volskaya Industries. But yeah, they didn't. No, Numbani.
No, they got that. It was Numbani. Yeah,
Numbani, yeah.
I think it was just it was 100 to 100, or 100 to 0 on both sides. Like they never even
Yeah.
got a
For
percentage
Oasis.
on Oasis.
For Oasis, yes. Yeah. And then in Numbani, they didn't even
They didn't
take
even
the
get
payload.
Yeah, they didn't
didn't
even
get
get the
tipped.
payload. And it was so bad EQO even in chat said nice try. And EQO was back playing the Echo, which was awesome to watch. He transformed differently than a lot of the Echoes did, turned it into the Brigitte and really it was kind of a meme to think about, him having to play Brig, but then
And now he's
Paris,
choosing to play Brig.
yeah,
Right.
but then it must have pissed Paris off because then Paris comes back and wins too, and almost takes the reverse sweep.
I mean, I feel like that was all Fielder. Fielder was able to take care of EQO on the Echo, which was destroying them.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden, Fielder's like, fine, guys, I'll do it. And sleeping him in midair, killing him in air. Like, he was able to pacify EQO, and then the team was able to play. Like, I feel like that was the big game changer there.
Definitely. He was a huge game changer, and that's exactly the type of player that Paris has been missing. And like that's the thing with Paris is like they just show flashes here and there of just like this team can be unbelievably good. And when they get their full strength, I think they have the potential to be one of the better teams in the league, definitely top 10, because they've just got some incredible talent. When they get XZ back, with the way that Fielder was playing, I think the biggest hole, and then obviously when they get Sparkle at the end of this month, the biggest hole that they need to fill and get on it as soon as they possibly can as their main tank. I think Ben Best is good. He's
a great ride. I mean, he's
yeah,
a really good ride.
he has a really good run.
The rest of
but
it, I'm not sure.
yeah, the other parts are questionable, and then I think on the opposite side, their other main tank, I'm completely blanking on his name, is just he's the opposite. Like he's a pretty good monkey, but not great at
Is it
anything
No
else.
Smite? Is it No
Nose
Smite?
might, yes.
Yeah,
It's questionable.
XC, I think, is the biggest factor that's hurting them right now. I think it's kind of like Dallas. You take Decay out, I don't think they're looking anywhere close to as good as they're looking right now. I think XC was that player for Paris, and they're really missing him right now.
I don't think this week they were missing him. I think Soon on Tracer is good, and Nico on
Soon
what's her name?
was playing like Soon was playing a ton of Ash, which don't tell me that Soon's going to be better at Ash than XC.
Okay, but can we talk about the elephant in the room? Like, why didn't Carpe play? Why is Hisu in playing Tracer and Ash over Carpe?
Yeah.
Like, what is that about?
Yeah, I really don't understand that. There's got to be something of like they let him take the week off or something like that.
I often wonder if Carpe and EQO don't like each other or something. And since EQO was getting the nod this week, Carpe is like, I'm not going to play. That's total speculation, but I just wonder that.
Yeah, similar to what they were dealing with. What was it? Who was it? Oh, Fraggy.
Fraggy, yep.
Fraggy never got any playtime because Carpe didn't want to play with him. He always wanted Sato, even though Sato would feed his brains out.
Yeah, all I can think of is Carpe refused to play or had some sort of obligation or internet was broke or I don't know. But
yeah,
there's no world where you think Hisu is better at these heroes than Carpe. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's nothing against him, but it's
I mean,
Carpe.
he did fine, but yeah, it's Carpe. Like, okay,
it's definitely odd. And so Boston continues to suck. Boston gets 3-0'd by the Mayhem.
Why can't Houston play Boston 2 weeks in a row? Why do we have to play San Francisco and Mayhem gets to play Boston again? What the hell is that?
Because life's not fair.
Obviously.
Oh, man. Well, there's not really much to say about that.
They kind of showed some signs of life. They didn't get like beat in record time. And that I will say, whoever Boston had playing Echo, I always forget anybody that's on their team because they're Color Hex. Actually, a pretty decent Echo.
Yeah, he looked okay at times. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh yeah, Color Hex is good at Pharah.
Yeah,
totally forgot.
I feel like he's a definite. He is hindering their team because he's not that good at May, and that's what's been meta. But he does have heroes that he's good at. It was like when Blase was on McCree, and I was like, he's just trash. And then he gets on Doomfist, and I'm like, okay, well, he can play Doom. He just can't play McCree. So don't put him in on McCree.
Might be the best Doom in the league. I mean, the guy looks amazing when he's on Doom.
Well, you got Linkser
definitely the worst McCree.
You don't need to have him. You don't need to have Linkser play McCree. We'll just have Blase do it for him.
It's fine.
Oh man. Poor Blase when he was forced to play McCree. But so Toronto really threw us through a loop. Everyone and their mother thought Surefour was going to play Echo. Jeff Kaplan was crying while this was happening, and Agility's got the nod for Echo, and Surefour wasn't playing the Echo. And once again, Toronto loses. Toronto loses 3-1 to the Gladiators. And the Gladiators are a good team, but Toronto just continues to let us down.
Hmm.
They're another team that I feel like Washington, they should be better. Like,
Yeah.
they've got the talent, they should be better. I do think that we wanted to see Surefour play Echo, but let's be real. Like, they needed Surefour on Ash. Like, they don't have who are they gonna play Surefour on Echo and Logix on Ash? Like,
I think they could probably make that work,
I
but
think that's
I
what
think
they
what
should
they
have
would,
done.
yeah, that's probably what they should have done. I honestly like that's something we talk about a lot because Misfit's a huge. We're both kind of Toronto fans just because it's the closest thing we have to having a team in our area, and also Misfit is a big fan of Logix, obviously because he's a huge Mayhem fan. So
Logix is a cool dude. I talked to him
Logix is
quite a
awesome.
bit in the Atlanta homestand. I expected him to be weird and like not real
Quiet,
talkative, but
yeah.
he was. I mean, it was just me and Mel there, and we had turned the mics off, and we were just, it was after the interview, but we were just talking to him, and he was great. I mean, he was super talkative, really well spoken. I mean, he was super cool.
Yeah, and I feel like this is the perfect time for him to really shine because not only is it online, which is where he really made this is where he made his name. Was the online play and he always kind of struggled on stage, but you get him in his comfort zone and the dude just he goes off. And I think like they finally got him in that situation. And when he was playing Tracer on the first map, they dominated. And they
Right.
well, not quite dominated, but I mean, he showed why he is highly regarded as a Tracer player because he's fucking amazing. Like, and you just get those situations where he doesn't get the playtime, and you're just why? Like, what are you guys doing? Like, I know you want like it feels like they're just trying to force Architect. Like I like Architect, and I think there's certain situations where he's really good, but
agilities, you mean?
or agilities, yeah, sorry,
Yeah, yeah. No, you're fine.
yeah, agilities, and I think he's not as good as the combination you would have of Surefour and Logix
Yeah, he
in
seems so
multiple different.
passive. It
Yeah.
seems he's always seemed very passive to me.
Mhm.
I really think Logic should be getting some more time and not just getting the control maps.
Yeah.
I really think it's time to make that change. I know it'll make Kareev sad to not have agilities playing, but it's
You got to
just
play your best players.
yeah, it's just not working out at the moment. So
Also, though, for Toronto's sake, do remember that their main support retired, and so they were playing Roki,
yeah,
and
yeah,
True.
that's different. So some of their synergy was gone, and I think when Cruz gets to join the team, I think they'll build that back up and hopefully get back what they're missing because they've
Yeah.
got a lot of potential.
yep. And on the Gladiator side, Space continues to throw it in my face that he's not a Diva one trick. So once again, I apologize again, Space. My bad. Uh,
Yeah, I mean the gladiators, that's the other thing is like for as good as or for like the moments where Toronto looked really good, the gladiators they're just the superior team across the board.
Yeah.
Uh, they're just I mean their tank line just continues to get better and better. Oj and Space are just building crazy synergy and it's really really fun to watch.
yep.
Yeah.
Those guys are great.
OG
I
is
liked
so
how
good.
Surefour at the beginning was talking to Big Goose in match chat. It was
Yeah.
like, no, you can't respond, but we are star-crossed lovers.
Well, and then he was like, and we still have our Warcraft 3 date after this, right? And then
Yes.
he said, I know you can't respond. I wonder if the casters were talking about it. I wondered if Deepay told them they weren't allowed to talk in match chat.
Yeah.
Could
Deepay's
be.
smart if he told them that.
Yeah, probably.
Ooh, Linkser had some shade in match chat this last week.
Oh man, yeah, yeah.
I don't think I saw that. What did he say?
Well, okay. So on what map was it? Oh, the first map. They told the team that Leeser didn't have the proper sense set, and I was telling Mel, I was like, dude, Leeser is just getting bodied. He looks horrible. And then we saw that in match chat. I was like, oh, well, that makes a lot of sense if he didn't have the right sense set to Ash.
Yeah, it was Numbani, and he kept asking Stryker for tips on Ash. Like, what's your sense at, Stryker?
Oh man.
It was good to see him though, like in good spirits, I guess. Even
Yeah, the
As they
best
get their teeth kicked in.
the best caster remark was when for the whole weekend was when Sideshow said that's a quote from Wendy Bird. And Wendy
Yeah.
Bird's a character in a Netflix show called Ozark. And I love that show because Mel and I grew up like 2 or 3 hours from the Ozarks.
Mhm.
So we spent summers
family
there.
house at the Ozarks, so
Yeah.
like we'd all go down there and like
We went down there all the time. College went down to Party Cove, and like it's just neat to have this show that's set all in the Ozarks. And I think a lot of people don't even really like realize that it's a real place. But I was cracking up when Sideshow was doing this. Like, well, Sideshow's been watching a lot of Netflix, I think.
That's
man.
pretty
who
awesome.
hasn't in this
No
time?
kidding.
I saw, who did I see? Hex posted on Twitter. He's like, I've resorted to pausing Netflix frequently just so it stops asking me if I'm alive.
Are
feel
you
ya.
are you still there?
Yeah.
we
Yes, I'm still here.
we don't ever
Yes.
see that because we actually have it specifically set to not play a next episode, so that if we fall asleep watching something, we don't have to go back 3 episodes and find out where we're at. So we don't ever see that anymore. But that happens if you watch like 2 in a row or 3 in a row. It'll come
Mhm.
up and ask.
No, it's 3.5.
Oh, okay.
Trust me, because I didn't used to have it set that way. So I always knew if I fell asleep that I had to go back 2.5 episodes at least.
All right. Well, we let's move on to the hero pools for next week. And I like how they're now showing all the cards. They did it. I really enjoy them doing it live on the broadcast.
Yes, same.
So,
I want them to bring the animals back into it because that was definitely the best that we had of having the cats choose. But
Zoe's
Just 'cause
reaction when
May.
May got picked, her true excitement just made me so happy because you're like, she really enjoys this. She likes this,
yes,
Oh man. But so for DPS, Ash and Reaper are out. For tanks, Reinhardt is out, and for support, Brigitte's out. So just real quick, something I want to say, and something I'm asking the players. I know a couple of you listen to this. Can I please see Pharah, Mercy, Echo, Dive? Throw in Monkey, Diva, and maybe a Lucio. Like, let me see that. I feel like it could be really strong. But what do you guys think of the hero pool for next week?
I think it'll be interesting to see what Echo's playtime is. 1 with Mercy and 2 with McCree and Widow in the pool, right? Like, is she
And
going
3
to be?
without Brig shield or without Brig armor packs.
Yeah, I mean, she has Mercy Pocket now, though, so like, that's probably a little bit better. But I guess I'm thinking, do you think she will still see the dominant play, or do you think McCree will come in and just kind of shut her and Mercy down? She's not like, I don't know. I feel like it's harder to follow her. Maybe it's not harder to follow her as a Mercy because she's kind of like closer to the battle.
no, I think she pairs pretty well with Mercy. I think honestly, I've seen some Mercy players say that she's even better to follow than a Pharah because of the way that she moves. it's easier to bounce between her and the rest of the team.
You mean she doesn't just like rocket
She's
jump
not just
behind a wall and you're like, I can't go there. Like,
right, or even just especially even in the league where they're just, I mean, they're floating at the just the cap the
right.
whole time, and like you're the rest of your team is like as far down below you as you can be, whereas Echo's not really, like, she's kind of going up and down a lot more. So there is a little more give and take with that. And I think I'm interested to see. I'll be shocked if we don't see at least some Mercy,
Mhm.
because she pairs so well with Echo. Um, but yeah, I think it's a real possibility that we might see the Farah, the Farah Echo. I don't know what else you play with that. Maybe do you play Zen? Like,
I don't know, because he'd be
he'd be
way
left
behind
alone.
everybody
Yeah,
else. But
Yeah.
I just think there's some sort of promise there, because you are going to have the problem of them going double hit scan and being able to take Echo out of the sky, even with the Mercy
Mhm.
pocket, like one headshot from Widow, and
Yeah,
she is down. With the armor pack, I believe she could take a headshot and not die.
yeah,
But
that's
I'm
true.
But I don't think you have to be as in the air with Echo. Like you can
as you do
still be
Farah.
effective
Very true.
out of the air.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
But I feel like
yeah,
you throw in Farah with, and then you've got 3 targets in the air that can be like, in the Mercy would be able to travel back and forth so easy. I don't know. I don't know if it'd be good or not, but I really wish someone would try it, because I'd love to see just the chaos.
I bet you it'll be Echo McCree and a Mercy.
yeah. I could see that. Honestly, I think when Ash comes back, we probably would have seen even a lot of just Mercy or Echo and Ash, because Mercy pairs incredibly well with Ash too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um, so I'm kind of bummed that we don't get to see that, but at the same time, I think we'll definitely see McCree. I think he just brings so much, the stun, and then the way that these guys can aim with him. Honestly, I don't really expect to see a whole lot of Widow. I think she's going to kind of be a non-factor,
Yeah.
in the league at least.
Yeah, I expect to probably see a lot of Bunker. Not excited about it, but I think
But
that's very
Echo's a good
possible.
bunker buster
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
that her E does work on shields. So if
As soon as
they're
there's
gonna hide,
tracking, she's
it's gone.
Yeah.
beaming them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beam
So I
is
think
really what's making Echo look so amazing. I mean, Rascal,
mhm,
I mean, you almost could make a case that Rascal should have never transformed, because he's so good with just the
right.
base Echo kit.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
All right, well, those are the bands for next week. Do real quick, just some just just some guesses on who's gonna win next week. We got Shanghai taking on Seoul.
Shanghai.
Shanghai.
Yep,
Yeah.
Shanghai. We got London taking on Chengdu.
Ooh, this will be the first time we've seen London in what, a month and a half?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Gotta go Chengdu. Come on.
I'm just hoping it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yeah, I really have no idea. I'm just gonna say
I
London.
don't yeah. Yeah. I don't even know what to expect from London at this point because it's been so long since they played and I don't even remember anybody that plays for them anymore. So
Fair enough.
Yep. Well, they have a lot of new people this year. But then we've got New York versus Guangzhou Charge.
New York.
Yeah, I think New York takes that one.
New York, New York. What about the Gladiators versus Paris?
This could be a fun one. Depending on which Paris shows up. If the two maps that or the two maps that came back, Paris shows up, I give them a good shot, but I'm still going to take the Gladiators.
Yeah, I think I have to go Gladiators, especially if McCree's back in the meta. I think
I'm
Not having
taking
XC is a struggle.
yeah, I'm taking
Yeah.
Gladiators with the caveat that if XC did happen to play, even
I
at
think he's in
200 ping,
Korea.
yeah, even at 200 ping,
Okay.
I will go with Paris. Oh, but then what about Vancouver versus versus the
God.
Washington Justice?
Does Vancouver even have a team? Like,
Right.
I don't
what are we
know.
doing here?
I don't know.
Like,
Like, are the owners going to be playing? Like, I don't
If
know.
if Vancouver has their current roster, I think they lose. If they get the rumored NA team that they picked up, I think they actually win.
do they even have like an off tank? They don't even have an off tank right
They
now.
don't. I think they have two main tanks. Or no, they don't even have
They
two
have
main
one
tanks.
tank. They have
Yeah, they
Fisher.
have Fissure.
Oh God.
Are you
Oh,
picking
Sorry,
Thumper?
Ryu Jaehong.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to take one for the team.
yeah, dude, I don't know, man. Everywhere Fissure goes, bad things happen.
And this one's not on Fisher, from what I've heard.
I know
Yeah.
that's what I've heard too, but all I know is that
It's
there's
still just
there's a curse there.
horrible coincidence.
Yep.
Right?
I'm gonna. I don't even
gotta-
know. I'll just flip a coin. Like I don't
Yeah,
even.
that's really all you can
Yeah.
do.
What about the Outlaws versus the Atlanta Reign?
I might
Hmm.
actually go with Houston right now because I think Atlanta is kind of in a they're kind of in a free fall right now. Unless they can really bust out that double shield, which without Ryan they might be able to. But if Dive is really strong, then I think they will really struggle, and that's what Houston is much better at.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna go Houston also.
I do think that Dante did a good job on Echo. I think that he was well versed in the hero. He didn't look like he had just picked it up and didn't know what he was doing. So I think that's good. I think Linkser coming back in, I think is good. So we've got Linkser. If Doomfist is in the meta, we can put Blase in. So
Yeah,
I'm
Echo
obviously going Houston, but
And just hope
Echo
that
is
Dexy gets to play.
Echo's really forcing
Yes.
teams to really rely a lot on hit scans. So, what about Boston versus Valorant?
can we just not predict Boston games? Like Boston will lose
Va-
every time.
I just said versus Valorant.
You did. I was
Wow.
gonna say.
They
Valiant.
probably lose versus Valorant players playing Overwatch too, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah, I can't vote for Boston.
Yeah.
It's gonna have to be the
It's gotta be
Valiant.
Valiant.
Shanghai versus Spark.
I mean, you have to go Shanghai until Shanghai gives you a reason not to go Shanghai, but I'll be interested to see how Charge and Spark do this week with Echo out and that they both destroyed Soul so bad last week.
Yeah, I'm
Same.
still gonna go with Shanghai. London, Guangzhou.
Again, London is such a mystery right now
Right?
because I have no idea I don't know enough about their players to know who's going to be their best Echo player. And that's really what it's going to come down to, I feel like.
Yeah, I'll go with the
So in
Charge.
this case, I'd probably go with the Charge, yeah, because Nero's a ridiculous Echo.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Charge also. They might be more exciting to watch now that Echo's playing. The boys in blue, your Dallas Fuel versus Philadelphia.
Sorry, Bob, but Philly gets this one.
I am going to pick Philly, but I think this could be actually a pretty fun match, especially if Philly actually plays Carpe and we see some Carpe EQO again. I think that could really have a lot of fun seeing them play against Doha and Decay.
Okay.
Yeah, after seeing Carpe versus Baby Bay battles, I'd love to see Decay versus Carpe.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going Dallas. I'm
Okay.
on this trade and I ain't getting off. So Dallas wins. What about San Francisco? What? Sorry.
I was just going to remind you, it's not Washington you get to play again. or Boston?
Played San Francisco too. Jeez Louise. All right. Toronto versus San Francisco.
San Francisco.
Yeah,
Yeah, not
not even a
even.
question.
Yep, they could just phone it in. We don't really need to watch it. What about Mayhem versus Vancouver?
I mean, this is the first time in a long time we've seen Mayhem play anybody but Boston, so I guess that's cool. I think Vancouver again. I don't even know if they have a team. So
Right. I think no matter what the circumstances, I actually, even despite them only basically playing Boston the last couple of weeks, I actually really like the direction that Florida's going. I think they actually probably roll
Yeah,
in
I'm
this game.
thinking Miami all the way. All right, well, unless you guys have anything else, that's going to bring us to the end of our show. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and I'd like to thank Chat. Chat was kind of quiet tonight, but we appreciate lurkers too. So thank you for coming. And if you want to get a hold of the show, you can do so by following us on Twitter. It's at AlRecap. If you want to send us something a little longer, contact at alrecap.com is the email. You can watch us Monday nights on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/AlRecap if you want to know when we're going live, because we usually have a guest, so sometimes it's a different time. So if you want to know when we're going live, you want to follow us on Twitter. You can also watch the VODs on YouTube. That's youtube.com/AlRecap. You can join our Discord server. It's discord.me/OmnicLab. We have game nights there at the end of the last Fridays of every month. This month, it'll be the 29th. I didn't make it to last game night because I didn't realize it was the last Friday, but I also didn't even realize that day it was Friday. So
fair enough.
I'm trying to get I'm trying to get better at that, but it's a work in progress while we're stuck at home here. And then I don't know. I don't think there's anything else. Mel, where can we get a hold of you?
You can find me on Twitter at MelOverwatch.
And Kel, tell us where all we could find you and where we can find your show.
Yeah, so catch me on Overtakes. We stream every Sunday night on YouTube and Twitch. It is Overtake OWL on Twitch, twitch.tv/overtake OWL, and then youtube.com/overtakes_OWL. And that is the same for our Twitter. Check us out there. We'll post when we're going live, and then also when we do our regular shows. We do a preview on Thursdays, and then we also do a betting show on Fridays. We've been actually having a lot of fun with that and finding some pretty good times and talks with that, especially with the recent announcement of Vegas allowing esports betting.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. We've really been enjoying those.
Your site still needs a little help on knowing where to set the odds on some of the things.
Yeah, some of the things. Yeah, we use buff.bet at the moment. We are hoping that with the announcement in Vegas, that hopefully sometime in the next couple of weeks, we get a consistent Vegas odds that we can use. And because that one, like, it changes so rapidly because as soon as somebody puts a bet on something, it fluctuates the other way. Like while we were doing, I think the Houston San Francisco game, like the odds were fluctuating so like every 15 minutes while we were in the middle of recording. So that was interesting.
Very interesting. Well, I haven't checked out one of those Friday shows yet, but I'll have to check that out. And you can find me on Twitter at Blazzin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. That's it. We've been us, you've been you. Thanks for listening. Keep your family safe and wave at me when I wave from across the street.
Wear your mask in public.
Yes.
Catch you guys next week.
Later, guys.
Bye.